Good afternoon and welcome to Yorkshire Voice on Wednesday the 17th of May. I'm Ellie Rigby.
And I'm Sean Gannon. Here are some of the stories that matter in Yorkshire today.
An exhibition to boost the economy across Yorkshire takes place at the Royal Armouries.
A school for cricket-mad youngsters is opening in Yorkshire.
And why science classes are taking place across pubs and bars of Leeds this week. More than £8 million is expected to be raised at a two-day business event in Yorkshire.
The trade fair opened its doors today to a wealth of innovative companies, showcasing their corporate services.
Our reporter Kelly Woodward went to find out more.
Buy Yorkshire's event, held at the Royal Armouries in Leeds, is a terrific multi-format platform for connecting and building better business relationships. Powered by the Yorkshire Mafia, the organisers have described it as the North's biggest business event, where buyers, suppliers and investors can mingle and do deals. Over £500 billion of turnover going into Yorkshire's economy is being represented by companies at the event, with big businesses including Lego and Uber in attendance. But how do the businesses expect to put money into the economy? And why is Leeds such an important place to host a successful company?
So Leeds as a city itself is so young and vibrant that people are wanting the next thing. It's almost like a capital of the North. So to have a company which has a heritage of innovation and such a big, strong narrative behind the company itself, to be part of the North and be a part of its culture as well, it's unreal. It's just so fitting for a company like the Great Escape here, who have come from the ground up to be in Leeds, of all places.
If an employer saw merit in that individual and decided to upskill them, then they only have to input 10%, so that would only cost the business £3,000 over 3 years, which is significantly less, and all the time that young person's earning money and getting skills as well as getting a degree, so it's a perfect, really good.
We've been striking up conversations with some people from Eureka. We've been speaking with people who run weddings and conferences. We've been speaking with people who just have, standard businesses, marketing stuff, things like that, about how we could maybe come and work with them or work in the areas they work with. So if they work in a particular geographical area, then maybe they're investing in their community, and so we can take Playbox to a place that doesn't necessarily get the art coming. So we can use, hopefully, that money from corporate sponsorship, I guess, or corporate investment to go and work in an area. But as well as that, we can come to your business and make your business smarter.
There are more than 185 exhibition stands, and Buy Yorkshire brings together thousands of executives and stakeholders from the business community to meet, network, share experiences, learn, build relationships and ultimately trade. But a stand at the event can cost anything up to £7,500 for the two-day exhibition. So what about charities? How are they collaborating with the businesses involved?
We're hoping that communities all over the country, not just locally, will just get together, have a cup of tea and a cake with friends and neighbours, perhaps have a street party, barbecue. If you don't want to do that, just run or something in a local park, just do something to try and bring people together within the community and just sort of try and take forward Joe's legacy of working in communities.
Well, we were invited by Yorkshire to be here. Charities sort of bidded with their supporters to vote for them to get a free stall here, and we were lucky enough because we've got fantastic supporters to get a free stall here. So we've been talking to businesses and making links and making people aware of what we do in Sheffield. Well, we're looking for sort of like partnerships. If businesses are interested in supporting us as part of we're a community-focused approach to solving homelessness. So anything they can do to support local community is good for them as well as it's good for us.
People are hopeful that this exhibit will bring a huge boost into Yorkshire's economy, but only time will tell. Kelly Woodward reporting for Yorkshire Voice.
Cricket-mad 16 to 18-year-olds in our region could soon be able to learn calculus alongside cover drives, thanks to Yorkshire County Cricket Club. Here's Alex Miller to explain more.
Yorkshire's state-of-the-art indoor cricket centre sits in the shadow of their famous Headingley Stadium and is one of the most revered training facilities in the country. It played a monumental role in sculpting the careers of stars such as England Test captain Joe Root and soon These halls are throwing themselves open to education as the Yorkshire Cricket College prepares to welcome its first cohort in September.
We're looking to recruit students aged from 16 to 19 and it's to do a BTEC in sport, a level 3 extended diploma, which is dedicated to sport, so it has all aspects of sport from sort of psychology, physiology, anatomy, that sort of areas, and it will give you, should you graduate well enough, then it will give you the opportunity to go to further education, study at university, probably at a sports specific degree. So it'll give you a really good opportunity to have a springboard for potentially further education if you wanted that, or going straight into a career, maybe a more vocational career.
The youngsters will benefit from the coaching of a number of current and former county stars, something Yorkshire hope will leave the potential students bowled over.
As a coach, it's brilliant. As a player, I went through a similar sort of scheme at university, so now it's fantastic that they can offer it to those that are at college level as well. It really brought me on as a cricketer, so the fact that I can offer my services to those coming through the system now, it's really exciting, and I can't wait to get my teeth stuck into it.
Batsmen such as South African John Mulman will still be able to use the facility in their quest to make it to the world stage. But the club are responsible, safe in the knowledge that not every graduate of the college will make it onto the hallowed turf at Headingley. They say the education aspect of the course is even more important than the cricket.
Yeah, it's massively important. To have that education behind you is vital. As you said, not everyone will make it, so it's giving them that grounding so they can have a career after.
The Yorkshire Cricket College will welcome a wave of potential students on an open day on June the 2nd. For Yorkshire Voice at Headingley, Alex Miller.
Now, it's the second leg of the All Yorkshire Playoff semi-final tonight, as Huddersfield Town travel to Hillsborough to take on Sheffield Wednesday. The tie is finally balanced following the 0-0 draw at John Smith Stadium on Sunday. The winner will face Reading in the final at Wembley on Monday the 29th of May.
In rugby union, Yorkshire Carnegie are preparing for the first leg of their championship playoff final, which gets underway tonight. Carnegie are facing London Irish at Headingley, with the match kicking off at 7:45. The return leg takes place a week today at the Marday Ski Stadium.
Good luck to Carnegie tonight, and may the best team win in the football. Now the political campaign is ramping up as the general election draws ever closer. Our political reporter Matthew Brannan spoke to the Conservative Party's Vice-Chair Stuart Andrew. How did it go, Matthew?
It was a great interview. He came down yesterday afternoon and we had a little conversation. We talked about one of the biggest problems facing Yorkshire's cities, which of course is pollution. Let's see what he said. 40,000 people die prematurely every year in the UK from pollution. That's more than murder, that's more than car accidents, that's more than terrorism, for example. I suppose my question is, have the Conservatives been a bit slow on this?
Well, no, I think there's a number of areas. First of all, you're absolutely right that this is a very important piece of work that really needs to be done. I think one of the problems we've had is that governments in the past encouraged people to buy diesel cars, and now evidence shows that actually some of those cars are emitting really bad particles into our cities and causing a lot of these problems that you mention. Now, we've come up with a strategy for that looks at how we can try and mitigate and how we can reduce the number of older vehicles that are polluting our streets in the cities. But it's also about trying to improve public transport within our cities. And, I've personally been very active working with both Leeds City Council and the government to try and secure funding for transport projects in Leeds, and I was delighted that even though the trolleybus scheme was cancelled, the government agreed with our pleas to secure that money for the city, and that's going to bring about a whole raft of new initiatives that will improve bus journey times, make them more reliable, better access to public railways, that we have supporting this constituency and others around the city, so that people can actually get into the city without necessarily using their cars. And then that's been added to by investment that is being promised by the local bus companies to improve their stock.
I think there was a report out in 2016 that showed the spending on transport in Yorkshire and Humber is at a level of £250 per head per year. Compare that to London, which is £1,900 per head per year. You mentioned that you've been trying to bring more money into the region for transport, but I suppose Yorkshire, Leeds in particular, might feel sometimes like London's poor cousin. Are the Conservatives actually going to really address that imbalance?
Well, you're right that historically, and this has happened with successive governments, it's not just us, it's happened when other governments have been in place, that actually London has a significant amount of investment in transport. Now, on the one hand, you can sort of understand it is the capital city, there's huge projects like Crossrail, but that isn't good enough. We do need to see more investment up in the north, because I think there's huge potential with the economies in the north of England. But to really sort of maximise that, we need the good transport links. Now, in fairness to this government, it has put in significant investment. There's more investment happening on our railways than any time since the Victorian era. We're seeing new rolling stock coming for links between Manchester and Leeds.
They sound like quite sort of... the word that's coming to my mind is quite meagre, quite, tweaks, and those things are important. I'm not arguing with that. But when there's such an imbalance between £250, 1,900, that sounds to me like, maybe I'm alone, but that sounds to me like we need a lot of investment. We need some big projects to really get our region moving. I think there was let me have a look, Direct Cities Networks, for example. There was a plan to bring a maglev train across the north. Those kind of big projects are what's really going to redress that balance. Are the Conservatives going to get behind those kind of plans, not necessarily that specific plan? But
yeah, well, I mean, and that's one of the reasons why we set up Transport for the North. It was to absolutely address the issues that you're talking about, because for too long, each of the councils were trying to do their own transport infrastructure. We've got to look at this in a far more strategic way, and Transport for the North is going to have the same statutory powers that Transport for London has, and come up with those plans that we really need that will transform how people are transported across the north of England. So, the Rail North, for example, is looking at better connectivity east and west, because that, I think, is where a lot of the problems are. It's also getting rid of these outdated pacer trains that people hate, and understandably so. But also, really good bus services that people can rely on and depend on. But we have also got the investment with HS2, for example, which is going to connect us not just with London, but actually will connect us with Sheffield and South Yorkshire, and then on to Birmingham, and that will hopefully make business more attractive between those cities and bring investment out of London and up into the north of England. So there's a lot of work going on, but absolutely there's always more that could be done.
Stuart Andrew there, leaving us with the words that I suppose are often uttered by politicians, that there's always more that could be done. If you want to hear more from my conversation with Stuart, where we discuss workers' rights and the NHS, you can find the second half of the interview on the Yorkshire Voice website, or just search Yorkshire Voice on YouTube, and both parts of the interview will come up there. We've interviewed people from across the political spectrum in the last few weeks. We've had candidates from the Yorkshire Party, the Liberal Democrats, the Green Party, and we'll be having Labour and UKIP in the next few days. So do check out all those interviews, and I feel like you'll be updated on what's going on the political scene. Thanks, Matthew. Has it been a fun week for politics geeks? I'm not sure I'd describe myself as a politics geek, Sean. Thank you. It has been a fun week. Well, no, it hasn't been a fun week, because there's been lots of checking of manifestos and lots of reading. But I suppose it has been interesting. We've had the Labour Party launching its manifesto on Tuesday. Top lines on that were 30 billion for the NHS. With funds raised from rising income tax on the top 5%. They also plan to nationalise the UK's major industries, water, energy, rail and Royal Mail. They also plan to scrap tuition fees. Of course, there are many people out there, pundits, think tanks and people from other parties who are asking where the Labour Party are going to plant their money trees that they'll need.
I feel thoroughly updated. The University League table results have been released, showing Cambridge and Oxford as the top-ranking unis. What else would be expected? Leeds University is the highest ranking in the county, but how have the rest of the Yorkshire universities done?
The results are marked from a group of varied areas, which consist of entry standards, student satisfaction, research quality and graduate prospects. Overall, many of the universities in Yorkshire have fallen places compared to last year's ranking. York University came second place in the area after Leeds, with Sheffield and Bradford following closely behind. Sheffield, Hallam and Huddersfield have gained places in the tables, coming 69th and 72nd respectively. Leeds Trinity, Leeds Beckett and York St John have all fallen places. Ellie Rigby for Yorkshire Voice.
Now, a number of pubs and venues across Leeds have been hosting scientific lectures this week. It's all part of a 3-day festival hosted by a non-profit organisation called the Pint of Science. I went down to Belgrave Music Hall in Leeds to see what all the fuss was about. What do you get when you mix the magic of science with a night out at the pub? The answer is a Pint of Science, a series of events taking place in Leeds over the next 3 days.
Pint of Science is the opportunity for us to bring the research we do in the labs right here at the University of Leeds, and we take it to the pub to take to the public directly, so we can share what we do with them, show the importance of what we do, and also discuss with them one-to-one on kind of the work we do and the importance of it. We have a range of speakers. Tonight here we're talking about atoms to galaxies, so we're based on more the physics and chemistry side of things. So tonight we've been talking about biomolecules and the biophysics that go into the simulation of these to work out how they work, and also how we are taking steps to improve our current computers for lower power consumption and better kind of materials which are less rare and less environmentally costly to extract. Last year we started in Leeds with just 3 events. This year we've gone to 5 events and almost doubled the number of tickets we have available. So really we can only grow to bigger venues, to more variety of talks, and really kind of engage the public on what's going on right here in Leeds.
After the first talk, the audience were given a chance to grab a pint and take part in some scientific demos. It also gave me a chance to talk to Dr. Oscar Cespedes, who was one of the speakers invited to the event.
So I'm here tonight to talk a little bit about science and about physics, and to let the public know a bit more about what we do in research in the university. So my field is something that is called molecular spintronics, which is a bit of physics in material science, both, where we use molecules to make new electronic devices. I think it was brilliant. I think I was very happy. I think it was. I didn't see anybody sleeping or falling apart, so I think it went well.
The evening finished with a talk about biomolecular physics from Sarah Ann Harris.
Tracy Emming's bed is a mess. Tracy Emming's bed is the natural state of the universe.
It's worth noting that Leeds is just one of the cities where this festival is taking place, with similar lectures happening in Sheffield and Manchester among many others. It certainly makes for an informative evening. John Gannon, the Yorkshire Voice.
Now, it's been a miserable week across Yorkshire so far, so let's have a look at what we can expect with Alex Miller.
Well guys, as you can see from the pictures around me, it's likely to be a very blustery and very wet couple of hours ahead for us here in West Yorkshire, with cold winds blowing in from a westerly direction. Temperatures are likely to remain in the low teens, with winds of up to 5 miles an hour, making it feel much colder. Forecasts suggest that it may be dry overnight, with the rain likely to ease up around 9 o'clock tonight. In East, South and North Yorkshire, it's a similarly windy story, although it is a touch warmer with highs of 16 degrees in places. We should be looking forward to tomorrow, when the weather will be much better, much sunnier climes, again with highs of 16 degrees. We are in danger of experiencing showery spells towards the evening, however, and a stiff north-easterly breeze. Early indications are that the weekend will be a lot nicer, sunny, but with some showery spells, so adjust your plans and pack a raincoat. Back to you.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Bye-bye.
Bye.